Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from the 4th canto, chapter 19, text number 10. Iti cha Adhokshaja sasya pritostu paramodayam asuyan Bhagavan Indra pratigatam machikarat. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. King Prithu was dependent on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is known as Adhokshaja. Because King Prithu performed so many sacrifices, he was superhumanly enhanced by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. King Prithu's opulence, however, could not be tolerated by the King of Heaven, Indra, who tried to impede the progress of his opulence. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In this verse, there are three significant purposes expressed in the word Adhokshaja: Bhagavan, Indra, and Prithu. Maharaj Prithu is an incarnation of Vishnu, yet he is a great devotee of Lord Vishnu. Although an empowered incarnation of Lord Vishnu, he is nonetheless a living entity. As such, he must be a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although one is empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is an incarnation, he should not forget his eternal relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Kali Yuga, there are many self-made incarnations, rascals, who declares themselves to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The word Bhagavan Indra indicates that a living entity can even be as exalted and powerful as King Indra. For even King Indra is an ordinary living entity in the material world and possesses the four defects of the conditioned souls. King Indra is described herein as Bhagavan, which is generally used in reference to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this case, however, King Indra is addressed as Bhagavan because he has so much power in his hands. Despite his becoming Bhagavan, he is envious of the incarnation of God, Prithu Maharaj. The defects of material life are so strong that due to contamination, King Indra becomes envious of an incarnation of God. We should try to understand, therefore, how a conditioned soul becomes fallen. The opulence of King Prithu was not dependent on material conditions. As described in this verse, he was a great devotee of Adhokshaja. The word Adhokshaja indicates the personality of Godhead, who is beyond the expression of mind and words. However, the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears before the devotee in his original form of eternal bliss and knowledge. The devotee is allowed to see the Supreme Lord face to face, although the Lord is beyond the expression of our senses and beyond our direct perception. King Prithu, great devotee of the Lord, was performing his Ashvamedha Yajna to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All Yajnas are meant to please Krishna. Bhuktaram Yajna Tapasam. All our activities, Yajna or sacrifices, tapasya, austerities, are meant to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And here Prithu, we see, though is an incarnation of the Lord, is performing this Yajna to please the Supreme Lord Adhokshaja, who is beyond our material senses. We cannot understand the Lord through our material senses. Atashi Krishna namadi nabhaved graham indriyai sevam mukhe jivado swayameva spurati adha. Material senses are dull. The material body is a composition of material elements. Bhumira pona lovayu. These are the 5 elements which comprise this material body. And even Kam, Mano, Buddhi, they are also material elements. And therefore, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, these are inferior. So inferior energy cannot understand superior energy. What to speak of understanding the cause and source of all energies, which is Krishna. So King Prithu, as in those days, they used to perform great yagyas. The kings had lots of wealth and power. So they were very expert in performing all these amazing sacrifices, wherein billions and billions of dollars were spent. We see how even Yudhishthir Maharaj was encouraged to perform the Rajasuya Yajna, and he sent his four brothers, all over the directions to collect dakshina. So in this way, the opulences of those ages are gone. Nowadays, where are the opulences? We see some person may be very rich, but it cannot compare at all with the wealth of the great kings of the past. So here we see that a very important aspect or points of this verse is that even though Indra is very powerful, very wealthy, but is also subjected to the modes of material nature. Here Srila Prabhupada said that the four defects are plaguing even the demigods. So what to speak of us, ordinary living beings? So he became jealous. He had no real reason to be jealous. He had everything. He had everything. He's the king of heaven. He's controlling practically the whole universe. But somehow or other, just like Indra was jealous of Krishna, the little boy convinced his father that why we should waste our money on Indra. What has he done for us? Govardhan is the source of all our opulences. He is giving us water, grass for our cows, beautiful fruits and flowers, rivulets and cascades, waterfalls. Our life is centered around Govardhan. So why we should waste our money and our resources to please Indra? So Indra became jealous in the same way that he's becoming jealous now. This is the nature of the material world. There are two types of people, paradukka dukki and parasukha dukki. Paradukka dukki are the Vaishnavas. They feel the pain of other living entities. Therefore, they engage in devotional service, in preaching activities to alleviate these sufferings. Just like the doctors I went day before. I've been having these terrible migraines for the last 30 years every day. So finally I came here, I went to see the doctor. So he's also engaged in alleviating the suffering of the people in general. There is a huge queue outside waiting for his mercy. So these are all wonderful things, but actually the suffering of the living entities, there are the cause and the effects. So we can cure the effects, but we must cure the cause, and the cause can only be cured by the mercy of a pure devotee. We may go to so many doctors and it alleviates our suffering for some time, But because we engage in sinful activities, those diseases will continue to come up. And we keep going to the doctor and come up again, go to the doctor for how many millions of lifetimes. So devotees are paradukha dukhi, whereas the materialistic man is parasukha dukhi. He enjoys seeing somebody else suffering. He cannot tolerate someone being superior to him, more wealthy than him. There is always competition, legal and illegal, in this material world, to be the top. So here Indra also, he thought that Prithu Maharaj, what is he trying to do? They are all thinking like that. Is he trying to take over my position? So out of jealousy, he stole the horse. So we have to be very careful not to be jealous of others. Jealousy, envy, these are great defects of the living entity. So we see Prithu Maharaj. Another point in the next shlokas, as we will read, very important point. It says here in this translation, when King Indra was taking away the horse, he dressed himself to appear as a liberated person. Liberated person. The same thing Ravana did when he tried to steal Sita. He appeared as a sannyasi. Because everybody respects a sadhu. Nobody expects that a sadhu will cheat or utilize his position to take away or to enjoy someone else's property. Devotees are only interested in one thing, and that is to reassociate with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna Sambandha. The devotees have no other desires, they have no other aspirations, they don't expect anything, nor do they want anything, nor do they care for anything, because they are self-satisfied. They chant the holy name, they take little Krishna Prasadam, and in their capacities, they engage in the devotional service of the Lord. Therefore, they are self-satisfied. And Krishna, it said here by Srila Prabhupada, that Krishna, when he sees the devotees being peaceful, the minds and the senses are always agitated in trying to acquire different material opulences. And in the process of acquiring this material process and these material opulences, the person becomes bewildered. Bhoga Aishwarya Prashaktanam. Bhoga and Aishwarya, these are two things which bewilder the living entity into thinking that he is the Lord of all that surveys. I am the enjoyer, and all these opulences are meant for me. Therefore, he struggles very hard to accumulate those the opulences. But he doesn't know that everybody else is doing the same. So there is competition. Therefore, we see that people are not satisfied with what they have, and they try to steal or somehow or other take away the property of others. And sometimes we see that, and very often we see that people fight. They fight in the courts, they fight in the house, they become violent. There are wars between nation and nation to steal each other's resources. In this way, everybody becomes bewildered by this Bhoga and Aishwarya. So they become entangled in these sinful activities. The Shijopanisa said that one should simply take what he needs. If he takes more than that, he's a thief. But by the grace of the Lord, a person may acquire unlimited wealth, just like here we see. Prithu Maharaj, he acquired, Srila Prabhupada, the purpose says, he was superhumanly enhanced by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Superhumanly enhanced. That means he could do what no ordinary living entity could do. That is what is the meaning of empowered incarnation. Shakti Avesha Avatar. The Lord empowered a living entity with a certain potency. The Lord has unlimited potency. Parasya Shakti Vividaiva Shruyate Swabhaviki Jnana Bhala Kriyacha. The Lord has unlimited potency. We cannot fathom the power of God. So for a particular purpose, He empowers a living entity, and by that potency infused into that person becomes very opulent, superhumanly opulent. And because they are devotees, they recognize that this opulence is not mine. So they don't become bewildered by such opulences and carry on the purpose of the Lord. In this material world, everybody wants to be glorified. In this material world, everybody wants to be respected, desired. Therefore, we see whether someone is a politician or a celebrity, movie star, rock star, businessman, everybody enjoys being respected. But devotees have no such a desire. Devotees only want to see that Krishna is respected. Krishna in the Shijopanishad is stated that we are all complete units. Every devotee is a complete unit in itself, in themselves. They don't need anything external. Therefore, a Vaishnava, when he comes to that platform of realizing that I am a spark of the splendor of God, and I have the same qualities of the Lord, therefore, he becomes self-satisfied. He doesn't need anything. Whereas the materialistic person, we see there is so much struggle in this material world to acquire opulence, to acquire knowledge, to acquire material possessions. In this way, there is always a miserable condition of life because we are wasting our energy. Energy means to glorify Krishna. Our energy should be utilized in devotional service like we are doing here in this temple under the guidance of His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. That though all of you have so much opportunity for sense gratification, having studied, having acquired degrees, having a good intelligence, coming from very good families, you have heard the call of the Lord, of Srila Prabhupada, And because of your past association with the Lord, otherwise it would have not been possible to understand. You have taken birth in this great country, India. The demigods pray. Bhagavatam says that the demigods pray that if there is any leftover punya, because they know that they have to die. That's the only fear there is in the Swarga. There is the fear of death. Otherwise, everything is wonderful. Everything is wonderful. But that fear is always there in the back of the mind. So they pray, if there is any punya left, kindly let me take birth in Bharata-varsha. So this Bharata-varsha is practically the abode of Krishna in this material world. He comes here. We see Vrindavan, Ayodhya, Dwarka, Mathura, all the pastimes of the Lord, they were all in this land. Of course, Bharat-varsha, according to the Bhagavatam, is not only this particular peninsula known as India, because before, just 60, 70, 80 years ago, Pakistan was also part of India. Afghanistan was part of India. Thailand was part of India. It was known as Sham. And we see even all the way to Cambodia. There is that very famous temple of Angkor Wat, temple of Lord, biggest temple of Lord Vishnu. Even the kings and the royals of Korea, they were related to Ayodhya. So the whole planet, this whole planet is known as Bharat-varsha. And you have taken birth here. And it is easy for you to engage in devotional service, to understand this great philosophy of Bhagavad Dharma. So, we should try to develop these qualities. Nirmatsaranam satam. That in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that the devotees are nirmatsara. They have no envy. They are free from the desire to accumulate wealth. They are free from the desire of being honored or respected. They have no expectation from the Lord, what to speak of anybody else. They are fully dependent on the mercy of Guru and Krishna. And we see that those such devotees are not interested in any of these things. By the will of God, by the will of Sri Krishna, they become very opulent. Just like here, we are living in such an opulent place. It's a very opulent, beautiful temple, beautiful deities, good accommodations, wonderful prasadam. These are all opulences. Association of the devotees. These are real opulences. What are you going to do with money? People are interested in making money, have a nice house, having beautiful palaces, beautiful material possessions, but they are always in anxiety, they are always morose, they are always depressed. They have to go to the doctor and take pills, antidepressants, which cause more depression. Because they are thieves. They are thieves. Chor, 420. They want to enjoy the opulence of God. But we are enjoying.
I'm enjoying. We are all enjoying. Because this is a real enjoyment. Realizing our nature, our true nature of being the servant of the servant of the servant. And we see that the Lord Himself, He is not very much interested in being worshipped. He is interested in worshipping His devotees. Therefore, He takes birth in the house of Vasudeva, Ananda Maharaj, Yashoda Mai. He takes the chappals of Nanda Maharaj on his head. He loves that. Krishna is God, but He enjoys seeing His devotee being glorified. There is no such a description of God in any of the scriptures of the world. In the West, they see God as someone very violent. God is a very violent person. Either you do it or I chop your head off. There is so much. God is very demanding and jealous and violent. Very scary. But here in Krishna consciousness, we see that the Lord is enjoying being controlled by His devotees. So this is opulence. So we have this opportunity to come to Krishna consciousness, give up our envy, just like we see Indra. He took the position of liberated soul. Sometimes we see those conditioned souls. Actually, Srila Prabhupada said that no conditioned souls can perform the activity of liberating other conditioned souls. The demigods cannot do it. Here we see Indra. He cannot do it. Conditioned souls cannot help other conditioned souls. But sometimes we see that a conditioned soul dresses himself up as a liberated person and utilizes his disciple for his own sense gratification. This is the greatest sin. To assume the position of a liberated soul when you are plagued by the four defects of material nature. This is called a deceiver. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami said that there is room in Krishna consciousness for weaknesses. We should not be disturbed by our weaknesses. We are human, we have weaknesses. We have been in touch with this material nature from time immemorial, and we have so many weaknesses. So there is room. If a person is weak, he should strengthen himself by proper conduct, by proper spiritual activities, by chanting the holy name. These are very powerful sadhana that we can strengthen our weaknesses, no matter what they are. We should not feel ashamed. But we should not cultivate weaknesses. We should not cultivate them. We have them, and we try to get rid of them by this process. It will take some time. But those who cultivate in the name of God, they are deceivers. They are cheaters. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami said, duplicity is not appreciated by Krishna. So we must give up this duplicity, this desire to deceive others, like we see here. Indradev himself is guilty of that bad quality. So Prithu Maharaj, being the incarnation of the Lord, he was able to perform so many wonderful things. Ashwamedha Yajna was not easy thing. And when the Lord appeared to him, being satisfied, he asked Prithu, Maharaj, my dear Prithu, I'm very satisfied with your jagya, with your serving. So he said, whatever you want, you can have. So he said, I don't need anything. I'm satisfied by serving you. And when he saw that all of his subordinates in the kingdom, they were praising him, being a humble devotee of the Lord, his reply was, I have not done anything. He said that if you praise someone for quality he doesn't have, or for qualities which he may think to develop in the future, actually you are not praising such a person, you are insulting him. If we accept taking the position of devotee, we are sadhakas. Therefore, we are trying to become devotees. To become devotee is not easy. I was discussing with a devotee a few days ago that in Vaishnavism, the Kanishtadhikari is the lowest position. But the Kanishtadhikari has all the qualities of the perfect Brahmana. The equivalent of a Kanishta in Varnashrama is the perfect Brahmana, who has all the qualities of Samadamas tapasocham kshanti marjavam evacha jnana vira vijnana saitam. So he has all these qualities. So we have to see within ourselves in what position we are. Are we even Kanishtadhikaris? Are we Brahmanas? So we are sadhakas. And the Lord is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And if He sees that the devotees are actually taking charge of themselves, introspectively, always checking their advancement in spiritual life, making sure that they don't become victims of this envy, jealousy, lust, anger, greed, cheating, then the Lord empowers such a person. Krishna is in our heart. From Him comes knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. And Krishna says, I give you everything you need. Tesham shatatam yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogantam. I give you intelligence. We don't have to do anything. Even knowledge. Sometimes we see that devotees are not very knowledgeable, or in many cases devotees didn't even know how to write and read. But because they had a devotion to the Lord and staunch faith in Krishna and the order of the spiritual master, they became great Vaishnavas. So knowledge is in the heart. It's already there, but it is covered over by these material qualities: lust, anger, greed, desire to enjoy the opulence of the Lord. So our business is to simply execute the order of the spiritual master. For millions and billions of lifetimes, we've been executing the whims of our mind, sankalpa, vikalpa, accepting, rejecting, sometime accepting the same thing you reject tomorrow. In this way, the mind drags us like we drag a donkey left and right. So now, Srila Prabhupada says, stop listening to this stupid mind. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami said, in the morning take a broom and beat the mind into submission. And at night, another beating. Because the mind is a rascal. The mind, thinking, feeling, and willing. So this thinking is always, how can I gain? So feeling, how should I gain? Making plans. And then willing. And then the body takes over. And he engages the body in the fulfillment of his fictitious desires, which causes so much pain and miseries in the reactionary cycle of birth and death. So we have this great opportunity Srila Prabhupada has given us, that instead of listening to the mind, our own mind, which is always agitated, we must listen to the mind of the Acharya. The mind of the Acharya is pure, is free from all material contaminations. And therefore, if we simply follow the instructions, we don't have to do anything. Simply following the instruction of His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada throughout our life, then we are in the right path to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we may not be great kings or great personalities. We may not have the power or the opulences of these great personalities. But we have our life. We have our intelligence. Srila Prabhupada said, first, if you can give your whole life to Krishna, that is the best, because everything is included. If you cannot give your life to Krishna, then give some wealth, like some rich man has a lot of money. So you give something, offer to the Lord. And if you have no money, you can give your intelligence. And if you are a Buddha, no brain, you can speak. So everyone can be engaged in the service of Krishna. Everyone can be engaged in the service of the spiritual master, no matter his position in life. Because devotional service is not constricted or restricted by these material qualities. It is not that a person has to be very rich or powerful or knowledgeable. Anyone can serve Krishna and achieve the supreme goal. Our main point is we should not cheat. We should not deceive. Deception is not approved by the Lord or tolerated. Here we see how in order to steal the horse, he came in the guise of a liberated soul. Because when a person is a liberated soul, we feel ourselves free to trust such a person. We want to trust. And in this material world, our trust is always breached, destroyed, corrupted. And therefore we become deluded, despondent. But the devotee of the Lord, the pure devotee of Krishna, they are worthy of our trust. And if we trust the spiritual master, if we trust his direction, his instructions, then we become benefited. Yasyadeve para bhaktir yatadeve tata guru tasyaite katitayarta prakashante mahatmana. One was implicit faith. Implicit means no reservations. No reservations. Srila Prabhupada said that once you accept the spiritual master, it is your duty to follow his orders. We cannot argue with the spiritual master anymore. Arjuna was arguing with Krishna in the beginning. Why you are engaging me in this ghastly warfare? These are my friends. These are my family members. Why you want me to kill them? It is better for me to go to the forest. All right? He was arguing with the Lord. So you can argue with the guru before taking initiation. That's why it is stated that before taking initiation, one should observe each other. And you can pour your heart out, your doubts, your arguments, and you can argue. But we see when Arjuna accepted Krishna as the spiritual master, no more. He simply listened to Shri Krishna's Upadesh. And sometime he was not able to understand, so Krishna would repeat. And in the end, what Krishna said, have you understood? He was ready to speak it again. That is the Supreme Lord. Okay, if you have not understood, I'm ready to again explain to you until you come to the stage of perfect understanding. And then Arjuna said, yes. So we must come to that stage that no more question. Question means you can question the spiritual master. Relevant questions always there. But no more arguments. We accept that we are servants and we are the property of our Gurudev. And by accepting this reality, and by the grace of Guru and Krishna, our heart becomes purified. Cheto darpana marjanam. All these different anarthas, all these different foolish desires that we have accumulated from millions and millions and billions of lifetimes. Brahmanda Brahmite. Brahmanda means not only this particular universe. Brahmanda means so many universes are there. Mahavishnu is lying in the Karana ocean, and from his bodily, from the pores of his body, unlimited universes are emanating, and they cluster into the Karana ocean together in different ways. How many universes are there? We cannot count. You may count the grains of sand on the beach. You cannot count the universes, the power, the opulence of the Lord. So we can come to this conclusion that to engage our life in the service of the devotees, in the service of the spiritual master, in the service of others. You serve others by giving them tattva jnana, by giving them what you have received. And if we engage in devotional service properly under the guidance of the spiritual master, we become happy, we become satisfied. And when you are happy and satisfied, others will understand that, they'll see that, oh, this man has given up everything. He has given up his business, he has given up he studies so much, but now he has given up, he's now engaging in menial activities. living in the ashram, shaving his head. Everybody is attached to their hair. Kali Yuga means, beauty means a nice hairstyle. People spend lakhs of rupees just for haircut. Thousands of rupees. They go to this barber, specialized barber they have. But we shave our head. This is a statement that beauty is not in this body. And Srila Prabhupada said that when we see the devotees with shaved head and tilak, we are actually seeing the residents of Vaikuntha. We are residents of Vaikuntha. If we stick to Prabhupada, we may have so many desires still in our heart. Some anarthas are there, but if we keep taking the medicine and the diet, Enechi Oshodi Maya Nasi Baro Lagi Harinam Mahamantra Lao Tumi Magi. The disease may be strong, but the physician, the potency of the medicine of the physician is more powerful. So we keep taking this medicine of devotional service, chanting the holy name, associating, studying the Bhagavatam, and engage in devotional service. Gradually, all these anarthas will be purified. And we all begin to feel the bliss that is Karaye Udoya. The Lord from the heart gives us this bliss, the feeling of happiness. And through that grace of the Lord, who reveals our real nature from within the heart, then we become very strong, we develop attachment, we develop a great desire to engage in devotional service. Just like Mangal Artik sometime in the beginning stage is like eating poison. Huh? But as you develop Krishna consciousness, you want to get up. It's no more a force. It's no more I have to. I want to. I want to go and see the deities. I want to chant the holy name. So you get up happily. Go, take a shower, go to the temple, engage, chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And you focus on the chanting. You focus, and there is a natural reciprocation by the Lord. Prabhupada said you make one step towards Krishna, Krishna takes 10 steps towards you. So we see that these superhuman opulences, enhancement by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to King Prithu being an incarnation of the Lord, he engages himself in the service of the Lord. So, second warning is given. Any questions or comments? अच्छा, जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की